Hi class, welcome to your Unit 4 lecture on starting a company. Okay, so far this semester we've talked about the role of the production manager in a traditional professional theater company. Then we don the hat of a producer to pick a play in a venue that we'd like to work on this semester. And this week we're going to talk about starting a company. Now, it's very unlikely that you're going to complete this course and immediately land a job as a production manager. While there are many different routes you can take to become a professional production manager, somewhere along the way you're probably going to have to start a project from scratch. You've picked a play and you've a venue, and now you're ready to search for collaborators, finding your tribe and building a team. But what if you don't know anybody? I'm just an ACC student. I'm new to town. I've never really gone out and gotten involved in the theater community. Where are you supposed to start? And what is a company? The definition of a company is very simple. A company is an association or collection of individuals. Company members share a common purpose and unite in order to focus their various talents and organize their collectively available skills or resources to achieve specific declared goals. Very simply, a company is a collection of people working toward a common goal. So unless you're doing a one-person show which you're performing, directing, designing, and producing, you're going to need some help putting up your first production. Even more than your script, your collaborators are the single most important element in any production. Who you work with is who you are. Depending on the size of your script and your venue, you're going to need some combination of the following: a director, your actors, set designer, lighting designer. Maybe you'll need a costume designer, sound designers, carpenters to build things, electricians to make the lights come on, stage managers, someone to run the box office, and even someone to make sure the toilets are clean. Every company is going to be a very unique combination of individuals. Perhaps you already have some folks in mind. Maybe you already have your team. But like I said, what if you just moved to town or to a new city and you just don't know anyone? Where do you start? First of all, start with your classmates. You're in school for a lot of reasons, but one of the biggest reasons is that this is where you're going to start to build your network. Many of the same people that I first met in school when I was studying theater are the same people that I'm working with today. Of course, many of my classmates went on to other jobs outside of the theater. One of them works in a church and another opened a grocery store, but many of them are still working in the field, and some of them are really successful. One of my former classmates just was nominated for a Pulitzer Prize last year. Another one has a show on Broadway starring Anne Hathaway that's directed by Julie Taymor, the woman who directed Spider-Man and The Lion King. And as an example, here at the top is a picture of Griselda Silva. She was an actor in the ACC drama department just a couple years ago, and just this year she was named the best actor in Austin by the Austin Chronicle. There are people in your classes right now. These are your colleagues. Meet them, support them, go see each other's work, get together and build something. This is how theater starts. And don't think that you have to stay in your department. Just because you're an actor doesn't mean you can't hang out with lighting designers or electricians. Theater only works when you have a community of people coming together to make it. One of my biggest collaborators who I've been working with for the last decade, we've made 2 full feature-length films together. We're working on a theater project right now. I met him in grad school. He was actually an opera singer at the time before he became a filmmaker. When I was in grad school, I used to hang out with a lot of geology students because there was a geology building that was right next to the theater building. And some of those people are my best friends today, and some of them have helped me financially and in other ways helping to start a theater company. Get out there and meet people at ACC, in your school. There's a lot of great people out there doing a lot of great things. Very best place to start meeting your collaborators. The second place is your community. Get out there, go see some shows. If there's one thing that theater students don't do that they should do, is to get out there and in your city and see plays, see lots of plays. If you want to make theater, you need to go see lots and lots and lots of theater. How else are you going to figure out what you like or don't like? And more importantly, where are you going to find all the people that you're going to need to bring together to put on a play? I actually believe in this concept so much that I started a class at ACC And this is all that we do the entire class is we go see plays. And I swear it's the most successful theater class that I teach. If you're interested, it starts September 1st, 21st. It's a short 12-week class. We go see 5 plays. We do talkbacks afterwards. You get to meet the theater companies, the directors, the actors. Many of my students, this is how they get involved for the first time in Austin theater. They go see a play. They really like it. They really like the style. They think it's the type of people that they want to work with. And we introduce them and say, hey, this is a student. Let them have an internship. Let them run your box office. Let them help build your sets. And that's how a lot of these people get their foot in the door. And if you want to be an actor, and just go do auditions, you're going to be one of hundreds of people that these directors might see. But if you're there with them every day working, you're much more likely to get a part and to be working in a theater company. Go see plays, seriously. If you want to take my class, it would be awesome. It's still in the course schedule. It's the very last one in the course schedule. It's called Theater Practicum 1, Play Reading and Analysis. There's a description there, but all we do is go see plays. We have already talked about 4 specific theaters in Austin. There's totally more that we could talk about. And like I said, if you see a play and like a director, stay after the play and meet them. If you like a particular lighting designer, write down the name of the designer. You never know when you're going to use them or could use them down the road as part of your own company. I've actually gotten to the habit of keeping all the programs from shows that I go to and writing down or circling the names of potential collaborators. If I see a show and I think that the lighting design is just amazing, I want to know who that person is. You never know when you might need them. So go see shows, go see shows. I can't hammer home this point enough. Go see shows. Third is to join a group if you want to meet people, theater group. Not necessarily a theater company, but there's different theater organizations, especially in Austin, that cater to different parts of theater. Most communities have various theater-based groups that you can join where you can meet other people who are interested in theater or make theater themselves. 2 really great organizations here in Austin are Scriptworks, formerly Austin Scriptworks, and Creative Action. Austin Scriptworks is a group of playwrights that anyone can join. They're also co-producers of Frontera Fest, which we talked about last week. They hold monthly readings of new plays and several different workshops and showcases throughout the year. It's a really great place to meet playwrights, directors, and really to discover new plays. The second organization is Creative Action. They provide after-school theater classes for area schools. And it's a really great place to get a job if you're looking to continue a career in theater in Austin. Everybody who works for them works in theater in town in some capacity. So you get a job there, meet those people. You're going to have instant access to a huge network of theater makers. The more you get yourself out in the community, the more opportunities you're going to have to meet your potential collaborators. Even if you don't know a certain designer or a technician, the network that you build will help you find them. Regardless of how you meet people or build your network, finding your tribe, those artists and friends who are necessary for building a theater company is one of the joys of working in this field. As a theater maker, you can't make art in a vacuum. The friends you make are going to support not only your work, but your life. Choose your friends carefully, your collaborators, and stick with them, because they're going to be the ones there to carry you when nobody else is. Okay, so you have your tribe, your script, and your venue. Now it's time to decide just what type of company you want to start. I'm going to very quickly talk about nonprofit and for-profit models, and also talk a bit about umbrellaing, which is an extremely popular smaller theaters, especially ones just starting out. But I want to stress that because of time constraints, this is going to be a very surface level explanation of what can be some potentially complicated business decisions you and your tribe, your collaborators, are going to have to make. So I highly recommend that once you get to this phase in building your company, you're going to want to do a bit more research into the different types of business entities that you can create. There are seriously entire textbooks on this subject. We just simply don't have the time to cover everything here. That being said, after this lecture, you should really have a good understanding of the differences, the key differences between for-profit and non-for-profit theaters. and as well as the pros and cons of each one. So the first question that you're going to ask when making the for versus nonprofit decision is, what is my ultimate goal? Do you want to further the cause of art and the common good, or are you primarily in it to make a profit? The simplest difference between a non-for-profit theater and a for-profit or commercial theater is that not-for-profits use margins to further its purposes, while for-profits are a business that use its profits to make a financial gain for its owners. Margins are simply those funds that remain after your expenses are paid. Nonprofit theaters provide enrichment for communities through arts, education, and other charitable acts. For-profit theaters provide business and employment to a community. As you can see by the chart here on the right, most for-profit theaters are dinner theaters and Broadway houses. Most smaller companies, community theaters, stock and resident, off-Broadway companies tend to be, but not always, not-for-profits. Okay, so what are the benefits and downside of forming a nonprofit? The benefits of a nonprofit include eligibility for financial grants from foundations, federal income tax exemptions, reduced postal rates and exemption from sales, and sometimes even property taxes in certain cases. Nonprofit benefits vary according to state, so you're going to want to obviously check with the rules in your state. Some financial donors will only give to nonprofits so they know that their money is going toward the public good. Those donations in general are going to be tax deductible. To form a nonprofit, you're going to apply for a 501c3 status with the IRS. And to do this, you're going to fill out a 1023 form and pay a fee. You can find those forms. I'm not going to go through them here. They're quite lengthy. That shouldn't scare you away from them. You can find them on the internet, on the IRS website, the 1023 form to form a 501c3 company or a nonprofit IRS status. So you fill out the form and you pay a fee. The last time I checked, the fee was $400 if your company's gross receipts total under $10,000 a year, and $850 if it's more than $10,000 a year. So if you want to run a nonprofit, one of the first things primary things you're going to have to do is form an independent board with officers. Forming, building, and maintaining a board is one of the biggest challenges in forming a nonprofit. It's not possible. I don't want to scare you off, but it will take a great deal of work and planning on your part. So if you're a first-time theater maker looking to get a company started and off the ground with little money and a few of your friends, you probably don't want to start by forming a full-fledged nonprofit just yet. You're probably going to want to start by umbrellaing under another company, and we're going to get to that in a bit. So one of the downsides of a nonprofit is that you are controlled by the board of directors. The board's job is to promote and protect the mission of a theater. And yes, it's totally possible that you could start a company and the board replace you with someone that they think will better achieve the company's non-profitable or charitable goals. So while this isn't likely to happen, it's not impossible. The board will meet monthly and keep detailed minutes of each meeting. Another thing to think about is dissolution. If your company decides to dissolve, if you form a nonprofit and that company dissolves, you most likely are not going to be able to keep the profits that it has on hand, any money in the bank. Does this mean that you can't make any money if you run a nonprofit? No, absolutely not. As a producer, production manager, artistic director, a founder of the company, you can totally collect a salary for your work. So, why might you decide instead to form a for-profit company? While most all local theater companies are nonprofits, there are certain times when you may consider starting a for-profit company. While you will not be able to apply for grants or tax-exempt status, you won't have to build a board, and you can remain in control of all your decisions. You really will be a theater entrepreneur. To start a for-profit theater, you're going to take all the steps that you would likely take to form any traditional for-profit company, a grocery store, any company you could think of, a food truck, right? You're most likely going to file or want to file for LLC status, which will going to protect your personal assets if the business was going to fail or you run into major legal issues. If this is the route that you want to take, I would highly recommend taking some of the small business classes that ACC offers. Okay, nonprofit versus for-profit. You're the only one who can decide, but what if neither of those sound suitable for what you want to do? What if you really want to and think you can make money with your theater, but you also have a strong community affirming mission and want to be able to apply for grants? What if there was another way? Well, there is. Welcome to the world of umbrella organizations, also referred to as fiscal sponsorship. The overwhelming majority of small theater companies in Austin fall into this model. While it's completely doable, creating a nonprofit theater takes a ton of time, energy, and paperwork. But if you're willing to give a small percentage of what you get from grants or donations, you can avoid this hassle by becoming umbrellaed or sponsored by another larger 501c3 not-for-profit theater. The IRS allows for not-for-profit theaters to sponsor smaller companies under the umbrella or fiscal sponsorship model of their tax status. In a nutshell, a company will sponsor your group for a small percentage of whatever you pull in for your grants and donations. It's usually not much. It's usually around 7%. I've never seen anything higher than 10. 7 is pretty standard. And in return, you're going to be able to apply for grants and take tax-deductible donations under the sponsoring company's tax status. Here on the right, in Austin, the Austin Creative Alliance is one such company. They sponsor dozens of small theater companies in this town. If you are interested in finding out how to be umbrellaed or becoming one of their sponsored projects, they have workshops a couple times a year that explain all their rules for their sponsorship program. And it's a requirement to attend one of these workshops. So they're just like a few hours, I think, usually on a weekend, if you want to become part of that organization. And the many new theater companies that are popping up, especially ones that have for-profit intentions, will often start a traditional LLC or for-profit company and then also become umbrellaed as a not-for-profit, which allows them to take grants and donations. So basically you're creating two companies, a for-profit company and a not-for-profit company that work together. Okay, well that about wraps up this week's lecture on starting a company. I know there was a short but quick, a lot of information in this one. But when you're ready to start your company, first you need to find your tribe and then decide on the type of business model that you're going to run. I think those are the two most important things in starting a company in particular. These 8-week classes move really fast, if you can't tell already, and here we are at week 4. We're already halfway through, which means it's time to get to your first project. But not to fear, if you've kept up with your assignment so far, you've probably completed almost all of it already. It's really just about putting together what you've done. So this is your assignment. Imagine that you've been approached by a potential investor in your theater company, whether through a friend or through the grapevine. They've heard about you and your desire to start a company, and they want to help you out. They're offering you $10,000 to help get you off the ground, but before they are going to sign the check, they've asked you to provide them with a letter describing your company, mission, business model, and future plans. Please include the most important information from your previous assignments, including your planned first production, your mission, and your chosen venue. This assignment is going to be due Sunday, September 20th, and should be 750 to 1,000 words. Like always, you'll find it under the assignment section under Unit 4 in Blackboard. All right, well, that's it for this lecture on starting a company. I look forward to reading your proposals. I'm excited to hear what kind of companies you guys are going to start. And as always, I know I gave you a big assignment, so I try to keep this lecture kind of brief and kind of quick, even though that we covered kind of a lot of information. So if you have any questions at all about anything to do with the class, or particularly the differences between for and not-for-profit companies or those business models, or if you have any questions about umbrella organizations and fiscal sponsorship, or if you want to be fiscally sponsored and need some help getting started, need to know who to talk to, please, please, please never hesitate to ask. I'm here to help you guys out. Any questions, just let me know. All right, that's it. And I'll see you guys at the theater.